The next category is sponsored by ACC. They've been right behind the Attitude Awards from the beginning.
For people with disabilities, the main barrier to finding employment is people's attitude.
We want to celebrate employers who look past perceived limits and simply hire the best person for the job.
The finalists in the Attitude ACC Employer of the Year Award are Bunnings Warehouse Shirley, the Halberg Trust and Melrose Kiwi Concept Chairs.
Bunnings Warehouse in Shirley, Christchurch has been eager to provide jobs for people with disabilities.
That's really good. Well done.
This is Seaton. He lives with an intellectual disability.
Welcome to Bunnings.
This is Mark. He's deaf. And this is Anthony. He lives with an intellectual disability too.
Hello, how's it going?
We have 6 people that work at Bunnings that have disabilities of varying ranges, some of them intellectual. We have a couple that are hearing impaired, but really it's not a barrier at all. They come along as some of the most enthusiastic, really keen workers. They've been here, a lot of them since the very beginning. We're 2.5 years old now, so and they give it everything. An example is Seaton. He's here so early before his shift starts. It's not funny. You got to tell him to. You don't need to be here this early. I would say any business that says it's too hard to employ someone with a disability probably hasn't tried it. And that's, you can't knock it until you give it a go. And I can say we've been open for 2.5 years now, and we've had people with disabilities from the very beginning, from the moment we opened, and it's been fantastic.
Phil Melrose is a classic Kiwi, do-it-yourself type guy. When he broke his back in 1991, he looked at the wheelchairs available and reckoned he could design something better. You know what? He did. Almost 20 years on, he has a respected international business manufacturing mobility products and high-performance wheelchairs. 7 of his 25 staff are wheelchair users themselves. Phil sees no reason why it should be any other way.
I've never thought there was any real limiting factors with employing anybody with a disability. And if they can do the job, well, shouldn't be any problems.
The Halberg Trust was born from a belief that everyone should have the opportunity to be involved in sport.
When I was a kid, there wasn't anything like this out there, and I really missed out on a lot of opportunity.
Today, its employment process embraces the concept, nothing about us without us. Stacey Roach and Ian McDonald have been employed for their expertise. It just so happens they live with disability. All team members are actively encouraged to aim for senior roles.
Essentially what the Halberg Trust is doing is talking the talk as well as walking the walk.
Stacey works in the field as a sports opportunity officer. Her role is to teach schools how they can include kids with a disability in their sports programs.
Get around pretty fast now.
If special equipment is needed, she'll source it, often with funding from the Halberg Trust.
They bring real skills, and they have really different experience, and they have quite strong skills that stand in their own right, that are part of why they have those positions.
They really get it. They get inclusion, and they get what we're trying to do out there in the community.
Last year I organised and was part of a dance group that performed at the opening of the Attitude Awards. This year it's the boys' turn. They'll open the night with a haka. A week out, and they still have a bit of work to do on the moves. I'm sure it'll be all right on the night. And the finalists for Sport Performer of the Year award are
Adam Hall, Michael Johnson and Kyle Murphy.
Skiing gold medalist Adam Hall headed to the Winter Paralympics this year with a focus so clear, no one doubted he could win the gold medal.
I kind of tell people that Vancouver's like my girlfriend in a way, because I sleep about it, I dream about it, everything is about it.
Adam was born with spina bifida. He has no sensation in his feet, yet somehow he manages to fly down the ski slope at almost 120 kilometres per hour. His bid for gold was the result of more than 14 years of ski training.
I got that ski bug back when I was 6 years old, and I've stuck with it all the way through, and my peers come and ski with me. They're the one with the disability, they can't ski. We've done some tests last year with pressure in my boot, And during the most important part and phase of the turn, I'm pushing about 250, 300 kgs of force. And that's a lot of force, especially for my sticks that don't even really work properly. In those events, we're going anywhere from 80 kilometres up to about 120 kilometres an hour. And that's faster than what your car's legally allowed to go on the road. Even when you're going halfway through a turn with all that pressure, that pressure, when you release 250, 300 kgs of force, it can throw you anywhere. It can throw you into a tree, it can throw you into someone else, it can throw you into the ice, it can do some damage.
When he arrived in Vancouver for the Paralympics, Adam was ranked number 2 in the world. As he raced, he took that awful tumble.
Oh no! Oh no, Adam Hall has probably slid out of contention right there.
The fact that he picked himself up and went on to win gold was as inspiring as the gold medal itself.
But he still wins it! Unbelievable! Adam Hall has done it!
By the time I got up and got to the bottom, I skied the fastest probably that anybody did on that course at all.
Tragedy struck shortly after Adam's jubilant return to New Zealand. His mother Gail, always Adam's strongest advocate, died in a car accident near the family home.
Those memories will always be, in my head and in my heart. And, our saying there was kia kaha, no matter what happened, just stay strong and work through it. And that seems to be something that's just worked all the way through the year. And our main saying for the year, for the whole team and the support that I've had around me, mainly from the New Zealand team, is just being kia kaha, stand strong, and that's all you can be and all you can really do.
Shooter Michael Johnson's a Paralympic gold and bronze medalist and New Zealand's first IPC shooting world champ.
When I first started about 8 years ago, it was just a bit of a hobby to keep me busy, and it sort of snowballed.
He also holds the world record in his class.
With target shooting, you've really got to sort of take control of your body and your mind.
Michael broke his neck in a car accident 14 years ago. His quadriplegia means he's unstable through his core, yet his aim is often pin perfect. He's shooting world record scores of 600 out of a possible 600 points.
Attitude to me is going beyond your limits, thinking outside the square, and just giving it heaps.
Carl Murphy burst onto the adaptive skiing scene in 2008. He's the current New Zealand adaptive snowboard champion.
My goal is to get first place in at least one of the World Cups.
Carl was born with a congenital defect to his right leg and foot. His leg was amputated when he was 2 years old.
Growing up, going through school with a disability and always competing at school level with able-bodied kids, I didn't get the chance to win very often. It's an awesome feeling competing with people with similar disabilities.
This year, he won gold at the US Adaptive Association Nationals, adding to his silver medal in the 2009 World Champs. He competes in bordercross. It's kind of like motocross on the snow.
You can live your dreams, you can do what you put your mind to. Just because you've got a disability or someone tells you can't do something, I reckon it's probably the best reason to actually go out and try and do it.
He rides on a Kiwi-designed, custom-built prosthetic skiing leg. It's state-of-the-art technology with a carbon fibre shock absorber. His goal going forward is a gold medal at the 2014 Winter Paralympics in Russia.
The Attitude Spirit Award recognises that unsung hero in the community. It's a chance to remind the New Zealand public out there of the thousands of people living with a big, bold, positive attitude. And the finalists for the Attitude Spirit Award are Elizabeth Charleston, Melanie Sloan and Pati Umanga.
Melanie Sloan encourages her students to make the most of every opportunity.
Just reminding the kids that having a go is better than actually not doing anything.
Since she was a toddler, she's lived with juvenile rheumatoid arthritis. She can't remember a day when she hasn't been in chronic pain.
That's correct. You're dead right. There was a couple of pivotal moments where I kind of came to the realisation, well, this is it. And I can dwell on it, or I can build a bridge and move on.
Doctors have replaced both hips, knees, and soon they'll reconstruct her shoulders in an effort to increase her flexibility and reduce pain.
I was told I'd never be a teacher, be too physically demanding, so of course what did? I applied for Teachers College, just to prove them wrong. and obviously because I love kids, so I've just never looked back.
A full day's teaching can take its toll. Still, Melanie gathers the energy to help others away from the classroom. She relieves the pressure for overburdened mums, organises extracurricular activities, and supports a young woman with an intellectual disability.
So I just don't like seeing people miss out when it could so easily somehow influence their day by just doing what I do.
Pati Umanga knows all about life's highs and lows. In the 1980s, his band The Holidaymakers topped the music charts. But in 2005, Pati had a fall that left him with spinal damage.
I slipped in the shower, fell and fractured my neck. It was just like an ACC ad that I saw that I used to just mock all the time and think, oh, no one falls like that.
Pati's situation was compounded firstly by depression and then by the stigma surrounding disability in the Pacific Island community.
For us as Samoan Pacific Islanders, we hear stories about how our people with disabilities are treated as though they've been cursed.
Pati established the Wellington Pacifica Disability Network and went on to make an oral submission to the United Nations on the rights of persons with disabilities. He also wound up working alongside ACC as the chair of the Serious Injury Advisory Group.
Basically things like social justice, social change, it's always been a passion for me to fight for the underdog.
Elizabeth Charleston was a darling of the catwalk and the equestrian scene, before a fall from a horse 5 years ago left her with a serious head injury. It ended her riding dreams and left her managing ongoing chronic fatigue. But she slowly built a new life, one with greater meaning.
It's given me a kick up the backside and I've had to give things another go with a different perspective on it.
Lizzie's formed Think, the head injury network for Kiwis. She shifted from riding to managing the New Zealand show jumping team. She judges equestrian events and trains new judges. She's committed to supporting the Head Injury Association and campaigned for safety helmets to be worn by equestrian riders.
You have that fighting spirit within you. Either you do or you don't. And I'm fighting on. Maybe it was just meant to be that this is how things were meant to unfold for me.
Last year's Attitude Awards introduced a Hall of Fame, supported by the Lion Foundation. The inaugural inductee was Robert Martin.
Truly a worthy first inductee to the Attitude Hall of Fame.
Born with an intellectual disability, he was just a baby when he was placed in the first of many foster homes. He went on to become a leading advocate for people living with intellectual disability and has even presented to the United Nations.
To all the people with an intellectual disability that no longer live in institutions. We closed the last one in 2007. Congratulations, New Zealand.
At next week's awards, we'll announce the 2010 inductee to the Attitude Hall of Fame, along with their 6 category winners.
What can we say? An extraordinary bunch of people. It is going to be really tough for the judges.
The winner of each award is up for the Attitude ACC Supreme Award.
That honour comes with an Air New Zealand travel prize and a Toyota car for a year.
Be watching next week when we bring you an hour-long special from the awards.
You won't want to miss it. It's always a great night and there's some very special entertainment.
Bye!
See ya!